Teaching, by definition, is an activity that is observed. It is only recently, however, for teachers to be observed by people other than those being taught. Welcome to today's presentation about using technology to enhance supervision. We will be focusing specifically on observation and technology. Before we get started, let's discuss the reasons for observation. There are two main reasons for observation: formative observation and summative observation. Formative observation helps teachers improve their teaching. It helps highlight areas where teachers are struggling, areas where teachers are excelling, and also helps provide support to teachers. Summative observation is used to check that you have met the minimum expectations, such as expectations imposed at the school, district, and state level. It also is used to meet externally imposed, uniformly applied measure intended to judge all teachers on similar criteria to determine their worthiness, merit, and competence as employees. Now, there are many types of observation, but here we'll look at three different types: the self-evaluation, the peer evaluation, and the administrator observation. The self-observation can be done through utilizing technology such as a video camera and can assist teachers in observing themselves while teaching. This can lead to teachers reflecting on their actions and helps teachers understand what went well in their lessons and what did not work. They can use what they've learned to help improve their instruction, and self-observation doesn't have to be shared with anyone. It can just be kept to yourself. Peer observation is when teachers take turns observing each other in person, and they also utilize types of technology such as video cameras and audio recording devices. Teachers can engage in non-judgmental constructive feedback, which can help teachers understand things they're doing well and things that did not work, which can lead to mutual reflection on the part of both the observer and the teacher, and overall improved instruction in the school. Now, an administrator is responsible for both formative and summative observations, and they take the role of both the evaluator and the coach when observing in the classroom. Administrators often have limited time to observe a class, which can lead to generalized or incorrect assessments. Now, how can we use technology in a classroom to improve observation? We can use video cameras because they are inexpensive and effective tools to observe and evaluate teachers and their lessons. Video cameras can be used by a teacher for self-reflection. A teacher can set up a video camera in the back of their room and then view the video at a later time to see strategies that work and strategies that didn't. It can also be used by teachers for an absent supervisor. The teacher can set the video camera up and then give the recorded media to their supervisor at a later date. It can also be used by an administrator who's present in the classroom in order to help the administrator critique and assess the teacher's lessons at a later date and review the tapes. What equipment is needed for using video cameras in classrooms? Well, we'll need a video camera, either analog or digital, and these are very easy to get a hold of. Most people already have them on their phones or their computers. You would also need a recording medium, some type of tape for analog video cameras, or a memory card for digital. Also a tripod to keep the camera in a still position. Also optional is a portable microphone. This helps clip onto teachers in order for the videotape to be able to pick up the sound of the teacher giving the lesson. Now, why should we use video cameras for observation? Well, often when teachers are observed, they're very nervous having an extra teacher or a supervisor in the room, and video cameras can be used as a form of less intrusive observation. And they can also be used by supervisors to help them play the role of both mentor and evaluator, letting the supervisor observe for the first time as a mentor and then watch the video at a later date as the evaluator. Cameras can be used as an outside objective source. They can be used on a large scale in a school, and they capture the closest representative picture of actual occurrences in the classroom. Now that we understand how cameras can be useful, inexpensive, and effective in a classroom, let's look at a case for video cameras in formative assessments. And this was actually a case study done with pre-service teachers, and they were divided into three groups. Teachers that received supervisor observation based on notes, pre-service teachers that received video observation only, and then pre-service teachers who received a combination of supervisor notes and video observation. In the scenario with supervisor observation with notes, the post-observation conference meeting was led by the supervisor, and most of the talking was done by the supervisor. Teachers felt that the supervisor notes were difficult to understand and often out of context, and teachers also felt that it was a telling instead of showing of what went wrong and what worked in the classroom. With video observation, the post-observation conference was led by the teacher. Teachers and supervisors were able to give specific examples, and they could place critiques in context. So they could see something happening on the video and say, in this case, you should be asking higher access questions. And the teacher could actually see the context. Teachers were also able to review the videos several times to focus on different issues, such as their ability to control student behavior, their ability to respond to student feedback, the feelings in the room, which is something you can't do just from notes. It takes a viewing in order to help you understand that. Finally, a small group of teachers were able to have a supervisor observe with notes as well as video observation. Teachers found that this gave them a nice balance in their post-observation conference of speaking between the supervisor and the teacher. Both the video and the written critique allowed the teacher to understand the situation more fully, as they had an experienced person giving ideas and thoughts and a basis for understanding those ideas. And in this scenario, also, teachers were able to review the video and reread supervisor notes. Video cameras can also be used in making summative evaluations. There are two problems that come about with summative observations. And one is that supervisors find that when they perform summative observations of a teacher, it can be difficult to fully evaluate and to check all the boxes, even over multiple visits. They're often long and tedious forms to fill out. When video cameras are utilized, administrators are able to record and comment during a lesson. They can then review this footage later to mark a teacher more fairly. Another problem is that administrators have a very limited amount of time to perform summative evaluations. Teachers in this case are able to set up and record their own lessons. Administrators can view these lessons in their free time when time permits and not necessarily during a busy school day. The next type of technology we're going to discuss is bug-in-ear technology. I know this has a strange name, but it's actually a very cool technology that has been developed in the last few years. Novice or struggling teachers can improve their teaching through the use of a small bug or a speaker placed in their ear. And corrections to instruction can be made immediately while teachers are teaching, and this can be done through well-timed cues and dialogue when the teacher pauses. The supervisor can be in the room or observing via video camera from thousands of miles away. In some cases, coaches were on opposite coasts than the teachers they were mentoring. Now, some teachers find this very disturbing, having an earpiece and having someone speaking to you as you're teaching, but through practice and through understanding the types of cues and dialogue that work for you, it can really help teachers improve their teaching. So let's look at traditional forms of observation and delayed feedback. So in normal observation circumstances, a teacher makes a mistake, a supervisor notes the mistake, and the teacher may not receive feedback of that mistake for several weeks. The comments are separate from the context, and this can lead to reinforcing an ineffective behavior over a long period of time. In the bug-in-ear technology, teachers receive immediate feedback. They make a mistake, and immediately their coach or supervisor tells them the problem. Teachers can then correct the mistake and break these tendencies before they turn into habits. In a study, this has led to increased teacher effectiveness during the lesson and even after discontinuing the use of bug-in-ear technology. Bug-in-ear technology can also be used with Skype. Skype is a form of two-way communication. It's an online calling that uses a webcam and a microphone. This can be utilized by teachers and supervisors. The supervisor can be very far away and does not need to even be in the same building. Webcams and microphones are used for the supervisor to observe and guide the teacher. The supervisor can then give well-timed comments, directions, and praise to guide teachers. Here's an example of a Skype and bug and ear guiding dialogue. This was done in a study of bug and ear coaching from opposite coasts. Teacher: now it's time to make predictions about shadows. What do you think will happen when I hold this piece of paper in front of the flashlight? Will we see a shadow? Coach: instructive feedback. Do you notice how only a few students are raising their hands to answer the prediction question? Now would be a good time to stimulate their prior knowledge and to use some high-access strategies. Instruct students to think about what they have been learning about shadows and the story you just read together. Then instruct them to share their prediction with the partner. Teacher: to help you make a prediction, think about what we have been learning about shadows in the story we just read together, Gregory's Shadow. Then turn to your partner and share your prediction. Remember to be respectful. You need to use whisper voices. Coach: encouraging feedback. Wonderful! See how all your students are now actively engaged in the lesson? They are eagerly talking with their partner about shadows and what they think will happen when you shine the light over a part of the paper. This dialogue continues on to show how the coach gives instructive feedback, encouraging feedback, and questions throughout the lesson to guide the teacher as she learns to become an effective tool for her students. Now, the equipment and training that are needed to use bug and ear and the Skype technology are a one-way radio earbud or Bluetooth wireless microphone and headset, also a computer with Skype installed, and Skype is free, with a webcam for non-present supervisors. This is optional in the case of using a webcam. Training that would be needed for teachers who are unfamiliar with Skype is just about 30 minutes of introduction. Teachers and supervisors should agree on the type and length of feedback before a live session begins, and this training may take up to 30 minutes. Now let's talk about how handheld devices can be used through observation and walkthroughs. Administrators can record their observations on handheld devices. A diverse range of applications allow for quick note-taking and recording of what happens in the classroom. There are several softwares that have been developed that are compatible with handheld devices such as Blackberries and iPhones. And these reports that are taken on the handhelds can be uploaded onto the internet and a computer with quick transferring information. No longer would you need to scan, recopy, or retype information that's taken while in a classroom. Finally, let's look at how to use an iPad for walkthroughs. The iPad has several tools that can be useful for walkthroughs and observation. A newly created teacher observation app includes such features as synchronization, scheduling, customizable rubrics, and reporting that can help supervisors and teachers observe a classroom. iPads can also be used for diversified functions such as note-taking, diagrams and drawings, photographs, and recording. All this data is stored digitally and then can be transferred to a computer, again avoiding much hassle. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you've learned something new about how to use technology to supervise and to observe in a classroom.